You have kept the good wine until now. We knew it. We knew something special was happening, something new, something to look forward to. All those angels running around making announcements, the whole heavenly host shouting glory to God in the highest, and Mary, the Mother of God, treasuring these things in her heart. When I was in high school, my girlfriend had a neat way of talking about and addressing her mother. The mom, she called her. The mom. I thought that was cool, and besides, my girlfriend was cool, so I thought I would start calling my mother the mom. It didn't last long. My mother was not interested in what was cool or clever or what have you. She was, however, quite interested in what was respectful and appropriate. I was a teenager, experimenting with becoming an adult, calling my mother the mom. Jesus is 30 years old, and he's calling his mother woman. Has anyone in here ever called your mother woman? If you did, there was a fight near at hand, wasn't there? Who would call his mother woman? Jesus did. In fact, it seems he's going out of his way not to call his mother mother. Over and over again, he calls Mary, his mother, woman. And never does he call his mother mother. I told you there was this thing between Jesus and his mother. We are looking right at it, but we don't know what we're looking at. It's like hearing one end of the middle of a phone conversation. They are out of wine, she says. Woman, he replies, what do you and I have in common with this? Oh, I don't know, Jesus. Maybe she bore you for 9 months and raised you, her own precious child, witnessing history bend around you with all the people reacting so strongly to you. Do whatever he tells you, she says. Water into wine is a notable transformation, don't you think? A transformation far more profound than water into wine is happening. A transformation of Mother Mary into woman is happening. You remember woman. She was brought out of man back there in the garden, just minding her own business, where she met the serpent. Where was man? He was right there, not saying anything, the template of all men everywhere for all time. We tried a new man with Noah, but after the flood, he got so drunk on wine, we all realized Noah may have been special, but we needed a man who could handle his wine. Otherwise, there was still no hope for us, not any at all. Adam knew his wife Eve, and she brought forth Cain, the murderer. We need a new Adam and a new Eve. Otherwise, the best we can hope for is drunken Noah. And the truth is, we're likely to produce murderer Cain because we are in the image of Adam and Eve, the man and the woman wandering in darkness, hoping for light. Jesus will meet another woman, the Samaritan woman at the well. And he will offer her living water, but not without telling her what her condition is. You are right to say you have no husband. You have had 5 husbands, but the man you have now is not your husband. You see, Jesus has come to claim his bride, but she is in a poor state, not anything approaching purity. Woman is filthy. Man is possessed by her, reduced to worshiping what we do not know. We've got to transform this filthy woman into a woman of purity. After all, she is us. Woman, he says, believe me, the hour is coming and is now here when the true worshipers will worship the Father in spirit and truth. From that well, the giver of living water goes to the cross, from where he spies his mother, Mary. "Woman," he says, "behold your son." And Mary looks at her son who is there on the cross being glorified by the Father in this twisted, confusing, incomprehensible act of salvation for all of us, pouring blood out of countless wounds, struggling for breath, this king of a kingdom not of this world. "Behold your mother," he says to the disciples standing near, and the transformation is complete. Water has been transformed into wine. The Son has been transformed into the bridegroom, and Mother has become woman, the bride of Christ. Then darkness came. If you understand all this, I'd like to speak with you after church service this morning, and you can explain it to me, because I sure don't understand it. I'm looking right at it, and I'm describing to you what I'm seeing, but I don't know what I'm looking at. A guy named Sam Stone grasped at it, and for one fleeting moment he understood it, and he wrote a song about it. You might recognize it. "The church's one foundation," he wrote, "is Jesus Christ her Lord. She is his new creation by water and the word. From heaven he came and sought her to be his holy bride." I do not know what it is like to be a bride, but I do know what it is like to be a bridegroom. When she appeared at the back of the church, my knees gave way a little for the beauty of it all. The woman, the dress, the idea of marriage, the waiting consummation of a fiery love. There was one wedding I presided over down in Buffalo, one of those remarkable mismatches. The bride was a sweet, quiet little girl, reserved, of a delicate nature. The groom was a biker, loud, rambunctious, strong-headed, a real bull of a man. The processional music started, and we all looked to the entrance of the church, waiting in expectation for the bride. The setting sun was shining against some glass windows, reflecting directly into our eyes, making us strain. Suddenly, there she was, captured by the sun, radiating in glory, the glory which can only radiate from a bride. She took one step toward us, and the groom burst into tears. That something so beautiful could happen to him was too much for him. Then darkness came, and they had to take him down from the cross. Not only had his knees buckled, not only had he burst into tears, but he poured it all out, blood and water, to purify his bride from her filth. The only Son of the Father, purity and truth himself, and he gave up his spirit. They put him in the grave. While it was still dark, the bride came looking for her groom, but she didn't find him there in the grave. Instead, she stood there in the garden weeping, just as the first woman stood in the garden weeping when she understood the terrible consequences of taking a bite of fruit. A bite of fruit! "Woman," he says, but in the dark, she thinks he's the gardener. "Woman, why are you weeping?" "They have taken away my husband, and I don't know where they've laid him. Sir, if you know where they've taken him, tell me so I can take him away." Jesus said to her, "Mary." How dark is it outside, my dear friends, for the church? The bride of Christ is groping around in the dark, looking for her husband, as Sam Stone puts it. Mid toil and tribulation, the tumult of her war, she waits the consummation of peace forevermore, till with the visions glorious her longing eyes are blessed, and the great church victorious shall be the church at rest. Who has hope for the church? We may be in despair for the great prosperity we had in days past when our young people continued in the faith and lived a life of faith, yearning to be faithful to God and to one another. But those days are past. And now we are a bride searching for the groom in the dark near a grave. He's here, you see, in the dark. The better wine is here. And not only is the better wine here, transformed from water by the groom himself, but the better blood is here in the wine to purify us, to give us strength, to be a light in the darkness, and to seal the wedding feast. He made a promise to us there on the cross that death will never part us because we will never die. And the bride and the groom will live forever at the feast where the wine will get better and better and better.